Our rabbi, Rabbi Cohen, epitomizes this concept. We are all aware of his brilliant research that goes into each Shabbos Shuvah and Shabbos Haggalah drashas, along with the weekly shiurim and drashas that our Rav delivers. As this Mishnah reminds us, though, the actual and practical advice that Rabbi Cohen conveys to each and every one of us is key. As I think of life cycle events, holidays, or other days throughout the year, the takeaway points and practical guidance from Rabbi Cohen are always aplenty to assist us to enrich our lives. Needless to say, our shul would not be what it is or where it is were it not for our esteemed Rav. On behalf of everyone here, we look forward to many more years of continued leadership from Rabbi Cohen. Now, earlier this afternoon around 3 o'clock, I did call up Rabbi and I said I could go on and on, but that's not in the card, so I have to ask for a mechila in advance, and I was granted that. So with no further ado, it's now my great pleasure to call upon Rabbi Cohen to share his remarks with us.
Bruchim haba b'shem Hashem. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to see everybody here tonight. I have many, many different emotions. First emotion that I must share with everyone is, this is the first full-fledged simcha. Is that working? Whatever. Oh, I'm afraid you'll steal my whole speech over here with mentalism. See what happens now. Good. My first emotion that I'd like to share with everyone tonight is my first full-fledged simcha that I'm attending. Last night was a l'chaim. Since the avelis for my mother-in-law Sholem was over. Then I realized early on, today being May 6th, is the 6th anniversary to the day of when we moved into the shul, actually when we had the dedication for the shul. And at that time, my mother-in-law Sholem came, and we did not know that that was the last time that she came to Chicago. Okay, those are the first emotions. Try to put them aside now, and the second emotions are the following. I have a very serious question here. I'd like to know what is the common denominator between the President of the United States of America and the three presidents that we are honoring tonight. Anybody have anything to say? Stewie, that's except you. I don't want to hear anything from you. Otherwise, anybody else can say whatever they'd like. I would like to say, that one sounded good. I didn't hear it. Tell me later. Okay, I would like to say the following. First is that just like the president ended up in Illinois, so too, all three of our honorees tonight do not come from Illinois, come from different parts of the country. Number one. Number two, we know that our president, named Barack, for lightning, doing things in a flash, becoming a president in a flash. Chaim, everyone knows, walks in a flash. Walks in a flash. Avi moved away in a flash. Michael comes from Memphis. They don't do anything in a flash in Memphis. However, it's a good point, right? You agree, thank you. However, I would like to say that a person who does things slowly and methodically very often wins the race. So Avi was president for only 1 year. Chaim was president for 2 years. Michael hit his stride at 2 years and became president for 3 years. I think it's an incredible lesson, Rabbi Say, in our comparison. But I'd like to end with one more comparison. We all know that the president is facing an incredible debt. What does it have to do with Adash Yeshurun? Absolutely nothing. We hope. Okay. With Siyata D'Shmaya, 2 weeks ago, I was looking up a pasuk for a different reason, and I found that the Netziv translates the word Yeshurun. The word Yeshurun appears for the first time in Parshas Hazinu. And the Netziv says the word Yeshurun means Anshe Maila Hayosa B'Yisrael. Great people, the greatest people in Klal Yisrael. Anshe Maila Hayosa B'Yisrael. Those are our honorees. Anshe Maila Hayosa B'Yisrael. Not only are they our honorees, but they are all the people who helped put this dinner together. And everyone should be mentioned by name. They already have been mentioned by name. But I have to mention the two co-presidents, Rav Heshi and Rav Sholem, who do an incredible job with an incredible amount of Mesiras Nefesh, and they deserve an incredibly Yasher Koyach together with their wives for everything that they do. And Mrs. Nussbaum. Without her, we don't know where we would be. And this year, special mention as well to the newest person in helping us in Adash Yeshurun, a Talmud Chacham, a Mechaber of 3 Svarim, Rav Mordechai Melenchuk Shlita. Anshe Maila Hayosa B'Yisrael. There's a shaila nowadays in Poskim. It's Nogea Choshen Mishpat, it's Nogea Yeredeya, it's Nogea Rechayim. If there is a din of a Talmud Chacham nowadays, is anybody roy to be called a Talmud Chacham? However, some say that even if there is no individual who's roy to be a Talmud Chacham, a Moisid, a Jewish institution, collectively can have the halachic status of a Talmud Chacham. And with that, I'd like to mention the following. As a Kehillah, as a Shul, I think it's right to say that we have a din of a Talmud Chacham. Rabbi Schwartz Shlita, all of the Shiurim, we are host to a Choshen Mishpat Kollel, which is unique in the country. Many of the members are here tonight. A yeshiva program headed by Ritzi Zimmerman, unique to the city, and many of the graduates of the yeshiva program and some of the current members are here tonight. Eric and Nita Meyer, Women's Learning Division of Adash Yeshurun, unique to our Kehillah, unique to the city, an incredible group of women who come to many shurim during the week, besides all the shurim and all the learning that goes on. I think it's proper to say that Adash Yeshurun has a din of a Talmud Chacham. So, our base Knesses, bridging and connecting and unifying. Reb Chaim, who happens to be a Levi, should really call up Reb Michael first. I did not realize that the 3 honorees until today are Kohen Levi Yisrael. But we're going to go chronologically. So Reb Chaim and Zahava have bridged the 2 buildings. It was a zman, it was a time, lachatz might be a good word, a little bit of pressure. We were moving. Should we move or shouldn't we move? Should we move or shouldn't we move? Then we moved. And then once we moved, what do we have to do once we moved? And all the different things. But those people who were zeicha to be there the night we moved in, we carried all the Sifrei Torah down the block and across the street. And many sons of many members who are here tonight, we danced in an empty room. There were no chairs. The only thing there was the Aron. It was an unbelievable and incredible scene when we brought the Aron in all the Sifrei Torah. Chaim united us, brought the tzibur together. Where is Chaim? I thought you were walking somewhere. I wanted to make sure. I'd like to ask Chaim and Zahava to please come up. Both of you, come. To receive the chazal is going to be the same for everybody. It's an unbelievable chazal and extremely apropos. Maha mezuzah hazu eina zaza mi Pesach. There's a mezuzah on the plaque here. Just like a mezuzah never leaves the door, kach lo tehei zaz mi bate kinesios. So too, you should never leave the Beis Knesses, the Beis Medrash. Reb Chaim is there all the time, every day, sefer open, davening, learning, helping. Presented to Mr. and Mrs. Chaim Suss, President 2009-2010, in honor and appreciation of everything you have done and continue to do for our shul and community. Congregation Adash Yeshurin, Anshe Knesset Yisrael, 43rd Annual Banquet, Yud Daladiya, Tovshin Beis, May 6, 2012. The presidents have to come up and the banquet chairman have to come up. Quickly, otherwise you can't take a picture. It's not tough.
President 2006, I think.
Was it 2006? No, you're right. It's only maybe 2001. Okay, you roll the flag. Come. You have to go down and come back out. You'll stay already. Just stay. You got everybody in? Must have made the 6 into a 9. That must be enough. 6 is yeah. Okay. That's right. Shkaya. Okay, so you're going to speak. Yeah, I'm going to come back. Go. I'll come back over.
One advantage of being so short, you don't have to adjust the mic. One of the biggest buzzwords in my line of work is diversification. We recommend cash value life insurance as a way to diversify. Creating harmony in your long-term financial plan is achieved by diversification. Adass Yeshurun is the most diversified shul I've ever seen. I think that we are a leader in terms of diversity. Our mispalim range from Hasidish and Yeshivish to modern Orthodox. The bottom line is that we all get along quite well, for the most part. This is a great Kiddush Hashem and something to be proud of, especially now, during the Yemei HaSfira, when we are mourning Rabbi Akiva's Talmidim for not giving kavod to one another. I want to thank everyone here for allowing us to be part of this great kehillah. Thank you, Rabbi Cohn, for making this shul what it is. Zahava and I want to thank Rabbi and Rebbetzin Cohn for giving of their time, their leiv nefesh, their lives, to this kehillah. Please give them a round of applause. I want to thank my children for being so special, each one in his or her own way. I especially want to thank my partner in life, Zahava, for doing it all. You are truly the wind beneath my wings. I knew you'd like that. Finally, katonti mikol chasadim mikol ha'emes. I'm not saying that our lives are without challenges. There are challenges, and sometimes big ones. However, I truly feel grateful to Hashem for all that He has given us. Thank you for coming, and enjoy the rest of the dinner. You gotta take this.
Take it with you. You, Chaim. there is another unique aspect to our shul which Baruch Hashem no one touched on yet. Michael and Randy are bonim. They are people who are builders. The cornerstone of a building is with an even, is with a stone. There is something incredibly unique about the Laskovs, about which I am jealous. I was never able to do it. Lo zachisi. One of those things is on Yontif in our shul, when the Laskovs, headed by Mr. Laskov Sr., have the schus of having 3 generations in 2 ways in one family, duchening in the shul. Having a son and a son-in-law with grandsons, being able to have 3 generations duchening in our shul. Not only do Michael and Randy have that unique aspect in their family, but Mr. Krause, every Shabbos is in shul. And every single Shabbos morning, I don't know what's going on, but for the last number of weeks, Usher's been davening. Psukei Zimra, last number of months, Usher's been davening Psukei Zimra every Shabbos morning. And Michael is there, and his 2 grandfathers are there. What a schus. What a schus. And we're sorry that Mrs. Lois Krause is not there to enjoy it, although she was there very often to enjoy that schus as well, of having 3 generations. And I've often wondered, the word even is a stone for building. If the word doesn't come from Av Ben, the combination, Mustama, somebody says this. Av Ben isn't, what's that? Rashi says that? Oh boy. Okay, where? Okay, well, somebody good said it before me. Even. Even is an Av Ben. What a schus to be able to be in a shul with 3 generations davening every single Shabbos together. What better type of connection, what better type of unity, what better type of bridging. And therefore I'd like to thank the Laskovs, Michael and Randy, for everything that they have done. As I mentioned earlier, 3 years of being a president. I don't think 4 years of being a president in the White House compares to 3 years of being a president in Adat Yeshurun. And therefore, I'd like to ask the Laskovs, Michael and Randy, to please come up. Once again, Ma mezuzah zu eino zoza mi Pesach kachlo te zoz mi bote kinosios. Most people don't know this, and Michael's not going to be happy if I say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. Michael is one of the last people to leave shul at night. Michael has Sidorim after Ma'ariv. Michael is learning in the morning. Michael and Randy are steiging. The entire Laskov family is a paradigm of a family in Yeshurun that has been steiging. They are incredible and honored to have them in our shul. Ask the presidents, please, and the chairman of the evening to come up to present this. Presented to Mr. and Mrs. Michael Laskov, President 2009 to 2010. I think everybody was the president in the same years here tonight. Okay. Mamish Achdus, 3 presidents at the same time. Unbelievable. What a shul. An honor and appreciation of everything. That's what it says. What should I do? An honor and appreciation of everything you have done and continue to do for our shul and community. Congregation of Adas Yeshurun Yisrael. 43rd Annual Banquet, Yud Dalet Iyar Tov Shinayin Beis, May 6, 2012. Jump over. Okay, Michael, you're on. I left some tissues there for you.
Well, we made sure all of the others were the same height.
I want to begin by wishing Mazel Tov to Chaim and Zahava and to Avi and Rachel and Emma, the honorees, all of them very, very deserving. I also want to thank very much the dinner chairs and the ad book chairs and all the people who have worked so diligently. I don't think any of us anticipated this dinner being as successful as it's been. They are all very close friends of ours, and we certainly want to thank them for everything that they have done. For those that recall, when I was president and we had a bar mitzvah in the shul, one of the things that I tried to do was always try to give a bracha to the bachar bar mitzvah by focusing on an aspect of the parents, the midos of the parents, and showing how they could use that and utilize that for purposes of growing in their lives. One of the last bar mitzvahs in the shul that I was president for was actually my own son Usher, and I had nothing really good to say about the parents for that one. But what I did say that night, I would like to repeat, and that's what I'm going to say tonight. Two things really. First and foremost, I didn't really appreciate this until I became president. I worked for a long time for the shul. I was gabbai at the early minyan for a few years before the Eruv went up, and I was davening at the early minyan. Then I moved to the main minyan at 8:45, and became the gabbai there for several years, and I was on the board for several years. It was not until I became president of the shul, though, where I had an inside look and could appreciate exactly what our Rav and our Rebbetzin do for our shul, both of them individually and together as a couple. Everything that they have, they give to the shul. Every ounce of energy, every thought, every moment is provided to the shul, to us, to the members of the shul. And until you become president of the shul and have the opportunity to see them in action behind the scenes, can you appreciate exactly what they do. And so I want to begin by expressing extraordinary hakaras hatov, extraordinary respect to our Rav and our Rebbetzin for everything that they give to us and everything that they do for us. And then the last thing is, the second thing that I mentioned at Usher's Bar Mitzvah is really a tremendous yashar koach to everyone here, to the entire shul. The shul has created an incredible environment that makes it just a fantastic place to raise children. It's an incredible environment that is made up, yes, it starts with the Rav and the Rebbetzin, but it includes every single person sitting in this room that is part of that. And it's just an incredible environment, an incredible situation to have an influence on children as they're growing up, to see the kind of achdus. Sometimes it's good achdus, sometimes it's not so close achdus, but there's achdus always going on in the shul, to see the direction, to see the growth that takes place in the shul. That has an impact on our children. It certainly has had an impact on our children, and I just want to wish a yashar koach to the entire shul. Thank you very much on behalf of both Randy and me. Thank you very much, and again, just thank you.
I just want to make this clear. Rabbi said Michal and I are not the honorees tonight. Okay. Thank you very much. So for everything everybody said. Chaim was the person who brought 2949 and moved it to 3050. Michael moved it along for the next 3 years. And then Avi came. Now Avi just didn't come into the shul. Avi, if we're having bridging and connecting and unifying, Avi is one of the 4 people who came with this idea of creating a young adult minyan, which soon took the name YAM, and created this unity and connection and this bridging of generations. Now, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. Young people would like to do things this way. Younger people would like to do things a little differently. We don't have any older people in the show. We just have young people and younger people. And it's Baruch Hashem been a unifying challenge which has united us. And that's an incredible chibur that has taken place in our shul as a result of Avi and his chaverim who came, started the minyan, graduated out of the minyan, became officers in the shul, started working for the shul in an incredible way, and we are indebted to them. And then, if we're talking about bridging and connecting and unity and unifying under the rubric of building, Avi has also created, although we've had dozens and dozens of couples, I've asked to see if we are leading in the Midwest of a shul that has sent more couples to make Aliyah and live in Eretz Yisrael, or more couples have left to make Aliyah and live in Eretz Yisrael. Avi is planning on buying a big piece of property in Beit Shemesh, which does need a little bit of unifying ability. And Yeshurun is planning on moving the entire Kehillah. Expenses paid by the Kamianskis. Houses will be supplied by the Kamianskis. They don't know about this yet, but it's all working out. It's all in the plans. But seriously speaking, he has brought a connection of Eretz Yisrael to our Kehillah. He's commuting back and forth and telling us, really giving us a real, what should I say, a real report of what's really happening. And it's greatly, greatly appreciated. Everything that he's done, all the energy that he's brought. It was wonderful that they were zeicha to move to Eretz Yisrael, and it left a big void for all of us. And the fact that he was agreed to come back this week, wish that Rachel could be here to share the moment, but she'll see it. And they have done wonderful things for the shul. I'd like to ask him to come up. Our connection to the new generation and our connection to our Tzenu HaKedosha. Please, Avi, come up together with the presidents again and the dinner chairman. We all know the halacha, Rabbi Yisai, that in Eretz Yisrael, you have to put up a mezuzah right away, even if you rent. Whereas in Chutz La'aretz, you have to wait 30 days, because kviyas in Eretz Yisrael, living in Eretz Yisrael, happens immediately. So ma mezuzah zueinu zos mi pesach kach lo tehei zos mi batei kinosios. And guess what? Avi was president from 2009 to 2010. Well, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Michael mentioned that there's another point of achdus that all three honorees are the exact same height. Okay, presented to Mr. and Ms. Avi Kamiansky, president. Okay, whatever they were president. In honor and appreciation of everything that you have done and continue to do for our shul community, Congregation of Dash Yeshurun Anshe Knesset Yisrael, 43rd Annual Banquet, Yud Daled Iyar Tov Shanayin Beis, May 6, 2012. Come right up after you finish.
Thank you, everyone. When I was first approached about being an honoree, I was really concerned that the shul was in total desperation, looking to honor someone who no longer even lived in Chicago. But when I realized that Chaim and Michael were also being honored, I felt honored to join the group of past presidents of the new building. As a new Yeshurun member, I saw firsthand how Chaim and Michael dedicated their time and energy and effort to building the shul. Both Chaim and Mazel Tov to them and to their wives, who without their support, the presidents could not devote the time needed to the shul. That obviously includes my wife, who had no clue what she was getting into when she agreed to allow me to serve as president as well. I want to thank Rachel. She, as everyone knows, she couldn't be here tonight. We couldn't find someone to watch 4 kids for a few days so she can come to America. And I got surprised today also. My parents showed up, and I want to thank them as well for coming out. And they traveled all the way from Los Angeles. And whatever leadership qualities I have, it really does come from my parents. When Rachel and I decided to move to Israel, we knew that one of the most challenging things we would face would be in finding a new community that we felt comfortable with. We were leaving friends, very close friends, and starting from scratch. And as Rabbi Cohn mentioned, I really couldn't have done anything I did in Yeshurun without my close friends. And I wanted to thank David Friedman, Benji Israel, Aaron Kay, and Mike Satz for all the time and effort that they put into the shul. I really could not have done it without you guys. Thank you very much. A message to the Yammers, and I think that there are some of you here. You guys are the future of the shul. You hold the potential. And my message to you is to get involved. And don't let the old folks, and yes, they're the old folks, don't let them stop you. They really do want your help, so please get involved. When I took over the presidency from Michael, Michael approached me about, I approached Michael about getting some advice. And Michael mentioned it tonight, but I'd like to mention it again. I told him that I knew the possession was going to be stressful, the financial pressures of the shul, dealing with all the complaints, trying to stay sane after the board meetings. But I asked Michael, leaving all that aside, what is the best part of the job? What did he like most about being president, and what gave him the strength to keep doing it, despite all the pressures? Michael told me 2 words: Rabbi Cohn. Developing a close relationship with Rabbi Cohn was the ultimate job perk. Anyone who has heard me speak about the shul knows that I credit the success of the shul to our Rav. Rabbi Cohn's energy and excitement continues to inspire us and our family. This week we're going to be celebrating Lag BaOmer. And everybody knows that on Lag BaOmer, we have the stories of the children taking out the bows and arrows. The bow and arrow is unique. The arrow is always going to go straight, but it's unknown in which direction it's going to go, and it's all dependent on which way the archer positions the bow. Rabbi Cohn works day in and out to keep our arrows straight. The Rav does this through his constant push to increase our Limud Torah. The Rav's message of steiging in the office. And just because you leave yeshiva, you're not learning all day does not mean you cannot continue to grow. I personally feel that I've grown more in my time at Yeshurun than I did in all my years in yeshiva. His love of Torah is contagious. I saw it with my children this year, who were extremely disappointed that they weren't celebrating Simchas Torah with Rabbi Cohn. The work on the young generation of Yeshurun members and those who are not yet Yeshurun members. The Rav's works on being mechazik the entire city of Chicago with the laws of Choshen Mishpat. I spent countless hours with Rabbi Cohn on the phones and in meetings. Sometimes the meetings occurred at 11 p.m. and went till past midnight, even though I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to go start my day the next day. I loved every minute of it, building my strong relationship with the Rav. Michael was right. This was the best perk. I got to see and experience this energy and excitement every day as president. I want to thank the Rav and the Rebbitzin for all the work they have done and all the care for our family, our shul, and the entire Chicago community. It would not be the same without you. My bracha is that perhaps next year we'll have this dinner in Yerushalayim, and may everyone here be zocheh to the words of the Navi Yirmiyahu, V'shavu banim l'gvulam.